Hello, folks. Once again, good to see you. Well, I can't really see you, but you can see me, and I can feel you. So we're together here on the Substack channel in the Zoom room. And I'd like to introduce the third of kind of a sub-series that I've been writing on the news within, it's called. So it's looking for a deeper story within the news. That is what's happening in the world. There's lots going on. A lot of crises are converging and cascading. It's an interesting time to be alive. Dangerous time, perhaps. We're lovers in a dangerous time, as Bruce Colbert used to sing. And how do we cope? How do we manage the huge amount of information that is besieging us from every angle? Mainstream media, social media, television, radio, of course, AI. It's all around us, it's coming at us. How do we keep ourselves intact? And how do we discern what to take in and what not to take in? There's so much manipulation of the message, competing narratives, propaganda, outright lies. Some of it is merely a waste of time. Other times it could even be dangerous. So the second article, the last one in the series, was called Boosting Our Cognitive Immune System. So how do we fine-tune that quality of distinguishing and discerning? So this one is about another approach to what many people end up going into. You've probably heard of fight or flight, or fight, flight, or freeze. There are three of them, actually. And a lot of people have that kind of response to the news, sometimes as a form of protection, just overwhelm, which is a word that is used so often these days. I just feel overwhelmed. So our systems are kind of shutting down. And the immune system, not only physically and for our etheric subtle body, which our DNA is programmed, so to speak, to protect us from bacteria and viruses and so on, but mentally, our consciousness, even spiritually and emotionally, of course, how do we maintain an equilibrium and an equanimity so that we feel safe and secure and comfortable in this crazy world? So today we're looking at breathing in the world. So a lot of my friends are saying, I'm just rejecting it all. I'm going to go on a fast for 2 weeks or a month. I'm going to turn off all my social media, my phone, so on. And well, that's one way. That's the flight. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes we need to fight and get in there and send some angry posts and whatever, rebuttals, and stand up for what we believe is the truth as close as possible. That's the inner warrior coming to the fore. And through all of this, there is a process within our etheric body, you might say, the chakras or the energy centers. We have a really important one. I'm just going to tilt a little bit right down here in the solar plexus, around the belly and the navel, and of course the heart, which is the central chakra of the seven major ones. So the solar plexus is the emotional center. This is where we feel anger and jealousy and fear and tension and anxiety. And it's also the residence of the inner warrior, the spiritual sacred warrior, whom we can invoke to come to our assistance. We can summon our inner warrior to come and back us up if we're going into a sketchy situation, if we're feeling nervous, ungrounded, unsafe. It's an amazing kind of archetype that we can draw forth. And Also, the solar plexus is the center for our personal will and our personal desire. So eventually, perhaps gradually, or after a couple of breakthroughs or initiations, our personal will may align or cohere with the greater divine will, if you wish, or the cosmic will. And that's pretty cool when that happens. But meanwhile, we all have our preferences. We have things we want, things we don't want, and that's perfectly fine. We have that right as human beings to have preferences. So the solar plexus is where that wanting, that desire, personal desire and personal will, I'm going to make this happen. So we have a lot going on here. So there's the emotional plane or the astral plane, and the emotions can be stable and unified, or they can be pretty helter-skelter, as is often the case. And perhaps the astral plane or the emotional plane is the one that we're least prepared for in this life. When we're little, we're taught how to go potty and how to eat, eventually how to get dressed and play with our toys and things like that. Very physical things. And then as soon as we can talk, basically, and then go into kindergarten, the mind is trained. We're taught how to put sentences together and how to do arithmetic and so on. But the emotional plane is pretty helter-skelter and sketchy, to use two words I've already used before. It's usually because our parents themselves have not been taught how to manage how to regulate the emotions and what emotions are even. So we inherit that legacy. So I'm going to offer you, as part of this little video, Corazon method articulation, which is a non-verbal exercise using principles of the Corazon method for authentic voice and dialogue to transcend or alchemize, is a better word perhaps, the energy of fear or anger, anxiety, stress from the solar plexus up into the heart center and transmute or alchemize this into compassion, love, compassion, empathy. Okay, so along with this process of being able to not run away from reality, to read reality, to face the world, to stand up for justice, but not to be overwhelmed or demolished or to end up sick emotionally, mentally, with a damaged cognitive immune system that can no longer discern between true and false. There's a meditation practice from Tibetan Buddhism, which I have learned and recently have been thinking about lately. It's called Tonglen. And down below in the article there are a couple of links to references. Pema Chodron is one of she's 89 years old now, lives in Canada, and has inherited part of the legacy of the great Tibetan Lama Chogyam Trungpa, one of my heroes. And she talks a lot about, when times get tough, when things are difficult, when we're uncomfortable with ourselves, with other people, with life, what do? Do we just run away from it, go into denial, try to gild the lily, as they say, make everything sweet and light and okay? I mean, that can only go on for so long. Sooner or later, boom, 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 it comes after us, and we have to deal with it one way or the other. So this Tonglen meditation is very counterintuitive, meaning it doesn't make sense when you first look at it. Usually the kind of meditation that we're used to, that we've been taught by very dedicated meditation teachers, including myself. I've guided many visualizations and meditations where we, with the breath, which is our greatest ally, we take it with us wherever we go. And so when in doubt, or when we can remember who we are or who God might be, we can use the breath as a vehicle to bring our mindfulness right into the moment, the present moment. Be here now, as they say. And usually we think of breathing in light on the inhalation. Light, love, peace, comfort, even, safety. We're breathing in all those good things that we deserve and we love and we need, and maybe that are missing in our life. And then on the exhalation, we breathe out. We let go of all the bad stuff, all the dark stuff, the stinky stuff, the yucky stuff, the toxic stuff, hatred, jealousy, darkness, tension, discomfort, confusion. And it's great. It works. It helps. And Tonglen is just the opposite. So instead of breathing in light, we breathe in the darkness that is out there in the world, the fear, the anger. We breathe that in, and then we alchemize it. We transmute it. And as we breathe out the light and the love and the empathy and the compassion. So it's really quite a revolutionary approach. And at first you might even think it sounds not only counterintuitive, but it could even be dangerous, spiritually dangerous or something, infecting us with the pain and suffering of the world. But no, because the other half restores the balance. So it's not to be afraid of it, but actually to have a relationship with the suffering that we all have. We're all suffering, let's face it, one way or another. We may not be conscious of it all the time, but to be a human being in this precious life, as the Buddhists say, it's a glorious experience. It's amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to have a life. And at the same time, I have to acknowledge that there are deep wells of wounding, grief, pain, suffering, and I'm working on it in my own limited way, as we all are. My dad used to have these simple little homespun philosophies. One of his sayings was, "Every man does his best," or woman. Every person with what we have, and it's different for everybody at different times in our life. But with the tools that we have, with the consciousness that we have, we're doing our best. And so when we see another person, one, they could be mirroring a part of ourselves, so they can be a guru, a teacher. So honor that. Two, they can be I just had a senior's moment, as they call it, and rather than subject you to my pain and agony and a long silence, I just paused the recording. So the other two things that when we meet somebody that could be embodied is that person is suffering. We can pretty much bet on it. And even though they may seem to be having the life of Riley and everything's tickety-boo, but inside there's a part of them that is visiting that well of wounding, and whether they're fully conscious in that process or not. And the other thing, the third thing, is they're doing their best with what they've got. And so when we remember those three things, it really helps us to hold back the judgment. And certainly with ourselves too, the theory of many parts, right? We have parts. There's the adult part, the inner child, the angry part, the suicidal part even, all kinds of parts that sometimes don't even know the others exist, or even if they do, they don't have a good way of communicating or dialoguing. So many parts of ourselves that are abusive, self-critical, self-doubting, that are really hard on ourselves and rejecting other parts. So when we practice Tonglen and we're breathing in the pain, the suffering, we can start close to home, maybe even before doing it with ourselves, one of those parts. We could do it with somebody that we're close to and that we really like. So we start easy, we break ourselves in, because it is, for most of you, a new practice, and you may be a little nervous about it. So start with somebody that you know pretty well, and you're aware of one thing that they're suffering from, perhaps. It could be an illness or whatever. Start with that, more or less, bite-sized, safe territory. And then after you do the Tonglen with that person, and maybe then choose somebody that you're neutral about. You don't like them, you don't hate them, they're in your life maybe, a little farther away from home. And then you could even choose somebody that you don't like for some reason, present or past. It could be from years ago, but somebody that's hurt you, or somebody that really irritates you for whatever reason. Remembering that it quite possibly is a part of yourself that's projected onto them that you're seeing, but that's another story. And try breathing in their pain and sorrow. And then you could graduate from there to the world, the news, what's going on in the Ukraine and Sudan, and the genocide in Gaza, and the environment, and the American politics, the polarization, the increasing fear and anxiety, many, many situations that are clouding our vision and causing us great concern. So that cascading of crises, breathe it all in like a mist, and then, of course, breathe out the understanding and the spaciousness. And the spaciousness is a good word, because very often the fear and anxiety, when we embody that, when we have it in our soma, it manifests as tightness and constriction. So we become smaller. So if we're breathing in that tightness and fear and constriction from the society or our friends, we can breathe out spaciousness. So there are a whole list of opposites. Breathe in hate, breathe out love. Breathe in light. Breathe in darkness, and then breathe out the light. So, in honor of the many creative people that have been inspired by Tonglen, I'm going to share with you 3 short poems that I have on another file here. So these are Tonglen poems. So you might just shut your eyes and relax. Oh, I even have a nice Tibetan bowl here, culturally appropriate. Take a deep breath, and this is sort of it's almost like practice in itself. They're short poems, but it certainly gives you the idea of what Tonglen is. Alrighty? So getting ready, all aboard. This first one is from James Crew. It's called As Breath Turns to Light, and it explicitly models the Tonglen practice of inhaling darkness and exhaling spaciousness. I breathe in anxiety, fear, everything others want me to be, that black smoke, and watch it turn to light with each exhale as I let it out into spacious air. I become a filter for all that is harsh and difficult in this world, and I hold on to none of it. This one is from Robbie Taggart, and it explores the emotional alchemy of Tonglen in real time, taking in personal and collective struggles and exhaling galaxies of hope. So he uses the masculine pronoun, so I'm going to switch him back and forth, he, she. He breathes in javelins. He breathes out henna blossoms. She breathes in loneliness and breathes out welcome. He inhales hatred and exhales forgiveness. She takes in misunderstanding and gives back an open ear. So the third one is by Susan S. Solinsky, and this poem highlights the physical and spiritual mechanics of the practice, of the Tonglen practice. A practice of breathing in life to transform it deep within the heart. Then breathe it out, changed. I'm just going to repeat that. A practice of breathing in life to transform it deep within the heart. Then breathe it out, changed. So let's just practice for a minute. You can do it much longer when you're on your own, but let's just commune a little bit, use this time and space. And if you would like to get ready, be comfortable. If you feel a little nervous, call upon your inner warrior and your solar plexus to come and provide you with a nice, safe container. Follow this simple rhythm with your eyes closed. Inhale. Breathe in the pain, anxiety, or sorrow that you or someone else is feeling. Exhale. Imagine that darkness turning into light, breathing out relief, healing, and space. Inhale, breathe in the pain, anxiety, or sorrow that you or someone else is feeling. Exhale, imagine that darkness turning into light, breathing out relief, healing, and space. Inhale, breathe in the pain, anxiety, or sorrow, the wound, the suffering that you or someone else is feeling. Exhale, imagine that darkness turning into light, that wound turning into healing, breathing out relief, relaxation, peace, and space. So this is a review. If you go back to one of the previous Substack posts from a couple of weeks ago, there's the idea that there are three pairs of symbiotic relationships in the chakra system. And one of the most important, they're all important, but one that's very relevant to the evolutionary and initiatory process of humanity in the world, on this planet at this time, is bringing up excess energy, especially in the form of anxiety, fear, anger, from the emotional center, the solar plexus, up into the heart center. So we use the O sound from the Corazon method for the solar plexus, the M sound as a liaison or a bridge, and bring it up into the heart center, which is, of course, the center for compassion, and empathy, appreciation, generosity of spirit, love, and then out into the world. So it would be Om Maha. So the combination of being aware of which sounds, phonemes, are related to which chakras, and the mindful utterance through the vocal apparatus, so the vibration, the intentional frequency, the gentle movement. We use the palms of the hands and the fairly powerful little chakras in there to help transport and gather and disperse the energy, and the aspirate H to send it out into the world, thereby opening our chest a little bit, making ourselves vulnerable. We can even put our head back a little bit, exposing our neck. So Om Maha. And as we produce the sound, we can be visualizing, sending that transmuted, alchemized, emotional energy transformed into compassion out to a specific person that we deem is needing it, or a country that's suffering, where there's a civil war or whatever going on, to the whole human race, to your family, to friends, to yourself, that part of yourself that may be involved in a civil war among the parts. So a really easy way to remember it is Omaha, Nebraska, the largest city in Nebraska. Nebraska. Okay, so Omaha. And if you wanted to reconcile or reciprocate, as I said, a symbiotic relationship, starting with the heart center and going down into the solar plexus, we're bringing our appreciation of our emotions and our spiritual warriors. I say, wow, I'm so happy that I have emotions. They're so colorful. They're so juicy. And to have the sacred warrior that I can actually invoke to come to my aid, my assistance, protect me. Amazing. Okay, so that would be Amoho. So then we're sort of breathing out through the solar plexus, a strong protection of healthy boundaries, for example, in the world. If we're in a situation where we're not so sure where our boundaries begin and end, this is a really good one. So that's how the two chakras help each other. So enjoy the article down below, and there are links at the bottom if you want to do a little further investigation. So it's been wonderful to be here with you. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and if you ever feel inspired to upgrade your subscription to a paid subscription, it would make my day. And thank you very much in advance. No pressure, but it would be nice. Bye.